the tongue is back. Today, I got another spicy review for you. We are going to be looking at Death by Salsa by the Pepper Palace. Now, the fine folks over at the Pepper Palace were kind enough to send this to me for a review, so I would like to thank them for that. I cannot thank them enough for sending this my way. And I really kind of like this salsa a little bit. It's interesting, but let's go ahead and look at the label real fast. I do like the label. They always come up with really interesting kind of labels. It's got what looks like it's just some sort of chili pepper, probably like a red jalapeno or something like that, and its tongue is green and it's on fire and it's kind of holding its, it's like really hot. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting label, like all their labels typically are. It says here it's the hottest salsa on the planet. It is 16 ounces, and I do believe this is about $10 or so for this, which is a little bit pricey for a salsa, but considering the type of salsa that it is, it's not that bad of a price. Over here, it says the planet's #1 hot shop. And you can go to pepperpalace.com to order this, or if you are lucky enough, like me, and you have a Pepper Palace in your city, then you can go up there and get it there. And obviously refrigerate after opening, and you want to shake well. And then let's look at the ingredients, and we have tomato, water, garlic, jalapeno peppers, pepper extract, habanero, onion, cilantro, and salt. And what's really going to make this one hot, is the pepper extract, which is pretty high on the list. There's not a lot of stuff in here, and it's fairly high on the list of things in there. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and shake it up real good. Gonna open her up, get the aroma. And it's very, very pungent with the extract. It smells really spicy. I mean, it does smell like a salsa, and even kind of looks like a salsa should look. But the spiciness definitely comes through. You can smell the garlic, and you can smell the onion and the cilantro, and obviously the tomatoes. But that extract really does come through in the aroma of this. Now, typically when I'm eating salsa, I usually eat anywhere from a half a jar to the whole jar, depending on the size and depending on how I feel. But I usually eat a lot of salsa at one time. And with this, it's hot enough that you can't really, at least for me, I can't really eat a whole lot at one time because of how hot it is. So it's not as enjoyable for me, but it's still a good salsa. So let's go ahead. Let's get the flavor and heat on this. And normally when you would eat something that is this hot, like with a chip, that's probably enough. But and that's what I would normally do. But for this video, I'm going to get a little bit more. That's kind of about what I would normally do. Maybe a little bit more than that. As far as like a chip. Cheers. Right away, oh, right away you get that heat, and it goes right to the back of the throat, roof of the mouth, back of the throat, back of the tongue. Excuse me, and it's just lays hot. It's already starting to make my eyes water a little bit. And it's already giving me the hiccups. Like I said, this stuff is quite hot. Excuse me. Maybe that'll help with hiccups. I don't know. Fucking. But okay. So it does kind of taste like a salsa because you can taste the tomatoes and the onion and the cilantro and the garlic. It's not as chunky as I would like it. I typically like really chunky salsa. But it does kind of have a little bit of chunkiness to it. And like I said, it does kind of taste like a salsa, but because it's so hot, it's kind of hard to think about what it tastes like because all you're focused on is the heat. And it takes a lot for me to not focus on the flavor. Like, it has to be really hot before I'll focus on the heat over the flavor. And this is definitely hot enough that it does that. Excuse me. This isn't really like a chips and salsa type of salsa, in my opinion. This is more of a, you would use it kind of like you would a hot sauce, or the way they typically use salsa in Mexico, which is as a condiment, just like with hot sauce. They typically, you'd put it on tacos or, just whatever different types of food as a condiment rather than eating it with chips like the way we typically do here in the States. So this one doesn't really work as well for that because of how hot it is, but you still can do it. It just depends on your heat tolerance. I mean, for me, this is easily a 10 out of 10 on heat. I mean, it's just hot, hot, hot. It doesn't take that much for you to really notice the heat. Now, if you just barely dip a chip in there and just kind of cover the chip and not really get a whole bunch in there, it's not that, it's bearable. It's not that hot. But if you try and scoop it and get a lot on your chip, it's gonna be quite hot. Easily a 10 out of 10. For flavor on this one, it's kind of hard to judge the flavor because the heat definitely overtakes flavor on this one. And I mean, it's still burning like crazy. It's starting to subside a little bit, but it's still really, really hot. The flavor, I'd probably put it at about a 5 out of 10 just because it's kind of hard to really tell the flavor. I'd like, if you made this same salsa without the extract, I'd wonder what that might taste like compared to this one. I think it might actually be pretty good. Because the salsa itself is good, but the heat just overtakes everything. And that's what they're really going for in this. This is, I mean, they're going for just straight heat. They just want this just to be as hot of a salsa as they can make it. And it does still have some flavor, which is a good thing. So, I mean, this one's kind of, it depends on you. Do you want a super, super, super hot salsa? Or do you want, like me, like I said before, I typically like to eat anywhere from a half a jar to a whole jar at one time. So I don't like my salsa to be super hot like this. But this does serve its purpose. It has, there's times where this would be really good, and you might want it. But there's times where you're probably not gonna want it. If this was like a hot sauce, I'd probably like it more simply because that's what I use. I like the super hot sauces, but I don't necessarily like super hot salsas. So I mean, it's good, but it's just not my type of salsa. Definitely hot. 10 out of 10 on heat. 5 out of 10 on flavor. Excuse me. It's got my nose running. Heat's finally starting to subside a little bit. Excuse me. And, but yeah. Anyways, don't forget to check out Death by Salsa by the Pepper Palace. You can get it by going to pepperpalace.com or a local store if you happen to have one in your area. And thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to keep it spicy, and I will see you in the next video.